Tell me, the very first time you ever performed at an open mic, what was that like, the experience?
Well, God took me out on a date when I was 20. It was New Year's Eve. I had just got out of a really emotionally dependent relationship, and I went out on a date with this dude, and he was like, "Where you want to go?"
Yeah.
I was like, "We can go anywhere." He didn't know I did poetry at all. He took me to a place called Giovanni's on 147th in Sibley.
Yeah.
Well, 147th in University. It's a pizzeria. I walked in, it was candles lit on the table.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I knew from that moment I would be doing that for the rest of my life.
You fell in love with him?
No.
Or you fell in love with
I don't even remember
setting?
his name.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where he at. None of that, but...
But he virtually changed your life, right?
He did.
And you don't remember his name?
I think his name was Daniel.
Daniel. Say hi to Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Okay, so prior to that open mic experience, you just wrote.
I just wrote.
Poet.
Yep, notepad poet. I would write it to entertain my friends in high school.
Okay, but you did share your work. You wasn't just in your bedroom.
No.
Scared about
I shared it. I was when I was in high school, I was dating a guy that was a rapper,
Yeah.
a local rapper in my city, and he would encourage me about my poetry. He's like, "Man, that's dope. You write, you should do something with it. Put it in a book or something." I had never even heard of spoken word poetry, so.
Okay, so we spoke briefly about your mentor. I don't know, any mentors, anyone that has influenced you on that level?
Absolutely. A poet by the name of Dina Dean from Chicago, renowned poet, mentor, mama. She's like a second mama to me. She definitely influenced me. That's definitely my mentor. In addition to her, a sister by the name of Celeste. They both host a set on Thursday nights on the south side of Chicago on 75th and Indiana. It's Soul Vegetarian.
Oh yeah, that's about. Oh, I know Soul Vegetarian.
Yeah.
Ben Ami. Yeah, I'm familiar. Ben Carter. Ben Ami. The Israelites.
Oh, okay,
Israel.
right.
That's
Yep.
cool, man.
Yep.
love-
Every Thursday night.
I love the South Side. It's just, especially 75th and Indiana. There's so much. Just that entire block. Just the culture there. And growing up, I had no idea. Like just the amount of culture that was just right there. Just Soul Vegetarian. Just renowned.
Yeah, my dad grew up in that
globe.
area too. Yeah.
So how does Chicago influence you? I like to ask people, where do you see the city going? Just as far as,
You know what? I think Chicago has produced some of the most amazing people in the world. Like, not even just the celebrities and the entertainers that we know. Just the children that I work with they make me emotional, but they are amazing. Like, they are amazing. They definitely are the people that'll change the world. I was telling somebody, out of all the cities I performed in, just been in, there's nothing like Chicago. Nowhere. So, like, even when I was out in LA not too long ago, I was thinking, like, dang, if I could just bring the feel of Chicago out here with this weather,
right.
I would be happy. Chicago is cold. So I see this city being very influential in the world. It's no coincidence that it's gold here.
You spoke to the youth. Okay, the last few years, being outside of Chicago, I've gained an understanding of how other people see the city. And one of the big things that was publicized through the media was just the crime rate and the violence and the murder amongst the youth. Can you paint a picture as to the validity of that, or where are the youth going? What's the situation as far as you see with your mentors and other youth?
Oh man, it's real out here. It's real out here. If you're a teenager growing up in Chicago, it's definitely real. They face opposition that I've never even imagined in my life. And young black males are such a target for violence. And like I said, this is more, I don't even watch TV, so I don't watch the news intentionally, but I live the news.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been on the train and watched some young men come in and, like, complete on dummy, beat up a black dude sitting on the train for no reason, like, and it really, really hurt me to my heart. So you got some very angry, frustrated, energetic youth that are out here, and I think the issue is that they don't know where to place that anger. I always say I don't mind working with the quote-unquote bad kids, as they would say, because I feel like the issue is they have energy. They just don't know where to channel it. And so if they run into someone who helps them to point it in the right direction, then they can actually be a great, vehicle for change. And so the youth that I work with are those youth. They have that same energy as these other ones, but the difference is they found where they need to aim it at, and they're thriving in that.
One of the problems, I don't know, just the community in general, since we were brought here pretty much, just the decapitation of leadership. If you have a bunch of soldiers at war with no true line of leadership and authority, you're gonna have a Vietnam situation. Raping women, bombing villages. It's gonna be just chaos. So one of the factors that's really affecting our young men is just that lack of leadership. You have a bunch of arms and legs without the brain connected to it, and that's been a systematic effort. And it's been in play for thousands of years, even before the Western slave trade, the Arab slave trade. So it's just like, I don't know, man. But it's perfect in my opinion because we've endured and we've made it to this point in spite of. So it speaks to the strength of the men.
Amazing, and that's how I feel. Like I feel like my people are so amazing, and it's almost like we have no choice because of where we come from. We have no choice but to be great. And I think that what's happening with our youth, a lot of the times people are so frustrated with what's going on with them, they are demotivating them instead of encouraging them or reminding them of their culture or their history. There's such a huge gap between the elders and the babies. I can get on a bus and, the children could be out of control. The elders are afraid to say something to them, and there's no respect, And so a lot of times I play the middle person in between that. I am the person that will be on the bus that will say something to the, rowdy children, because I feel like, even though they are dangerous nowadays, living is dangerous. And I feel like if I'm going to die for a worthy cause. If correcting a young person is going to be the cause of death, then I'm ready to meet that, at least I die with the cause. And so I think that our elders need to take a more active role with these youth. Stop being afraid.
Frightened. So how do we get to that point? I mean, when someone is frightened, it's like a biological response, and it's on the subconscious level. Let's make a distinction. Fear is a level reverence. You fear your parents, you fear God, but to be frightened, your body spasms. You go into defense mode. How do you bridge that gap where you can incorporate the elders back into the lives?
I'm gonna tell you how. Expose the elders to a group of youth that are not like the ones that they're seeing on the news every night. There's always two sides to the story, and that's one of the reasons why I don't watch the news, because I feel like the news is an instrument to create worry and doubt and fear. And on a lot of levels, watching the news, you rarely hear something positive or inspiring. And so I'm a person that strongly believes that your thoughts create your life, and how you think. How you think is definitely affected by what you allow yourself to hear and watch. And so I think that if the elders were able to see more examples of youth that are not like that, I think that they would begin to understand that it's a circumstantial situation. And I think sometimes when I'm on the bus, the smallest thing, if I say something to the youth about controlling their behavior and the way that they respond to me might be comforting to the elders to see, like, okay, they don't just necessarily flip out. And I'm not highly aggressive when I approach them. I say it as respectful as I can. I can't be on the bus asking you to be respectful while I'm being disrespectful to you. So, it's simple as, hey, you got elders around, watch your mouth. And a lot of times, I'll say maybe 8 out of 10 times, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, or, they apologize. So I think that if we put the elders in a situation where they see youth that are not responding like that, that might subside some of that fear.
Okay, you spoke briefly earlier discussion. That's the program you've initiated to empower young women. Can you speak specifically to the state of our young women and some of the issues they're going through, and where do you see our young women going as we progress?
God, you know, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm worried that the influence is so great with negative images for you. You know, Nicki Minaj is leading this generation of young women, and she has made it acceptable to do a lot of disrespectful things as a woman. But what I found is when the children see a contrast of that, that's just as powerful, they gravitate towards that. A lot of times when I perform in the high schools, you know, immediately they start comparing me to Nicki Minaj. Not that we have much in common, but we're two women that are powerful, you know, and we both rhyme. And so, you know, they start comparing immediately. And so I bring a different element than Nicki Minaj. And so I redefine for them what swag is, what it is to be a woman. You know, they prior to seeing me, they might have thought that Nicki Minaj was what a woman is supposed to be like. And so I know that, you know, one performance by me doesn't change what they listen to. I know that they still might listen to it, but a seed is planted when they see it. I think that if the young women can get in line mildly, I think that you know, the nation changes.
Yeah.
You know, women are very influential.
The mothers.
The mothers. This we give birth. You know. And that's what I'm restoring. So with the Treat Me Like a Queen class, I teach 8 attributes of a queen. And for each attribute, you know, I have a poem that goes along with it and activities that I do to, you know, just really, really drill it in. And one of the second attribute that I speak about is a queen is connected and understands her connection. And when I speak about that, I speak about being connected to God or a higher power, you know, being connected to other women, being connected to what happens in your community. And when I started off by speaking about being connected to God, the way that I remind them that they're connected to a higher power is, you know, if you just consider a woman, she has God-like qualities, you know. Who else can create something and give birth to life besides a woman?
Right.
And you know, I think when they're reminded of their royalty and they get a real example and understand their power, I think that is a perfect thing. So,
You spoke to a relationship with a higher power. You know, a true spiritual endeavor, pursuit, something greater, but at the same time, something that exists within. You know, something not too far beyond us, but it's something that, you know, that connects everything.
Absolutely.
What's the state of spirituality? You know, not just amongst the youth, but the community. Where are we going in this? You know, what is there a void? Is it missing? Is that the issue? What is? Speak
you know,
to that.
I think that a lot of our people have been bruised and burned by religion, and so I think a lot of our people are in purgatory, if you will. You know, that they don't want to go back to religion because religion has, you know, brought about some hurt, you know, further than, you know, just where a lot of religions derive from, so on and so forth. But just, you know, I meet a lot of people that used to be devout Christians or what have you, and they've been burned by religion, you know, whether it was the pastor, whether it was the people being criticized, condemned, so on and so forth. So they like, I'm not messing with that no more, you know. But then there's still a part of them that's afraid to seek an alternative method of connecting with God, and so they're kind of just like riding that middle lane, you know. Myself, I'm a more spiritual person, you know. I did grow up religious. I was raised a devout Christian. Since then, my views have changed completely. I still wholeheartedly believe in God and worship and praise and fast and all of the good stuff, but I've decided not to allow my concept of God to be so one-dimensional and small and closed-minded and judgmental. It allows me to accept other people and how they decide to connect with God without being critical of them. And so I think our people are looking for something that inspires them and sets them free from condemnation. You know?
All right, let's go back to poetry. All right, what do you see yourself in poetry? And let's say 65 years old, when they say we're supposed to be retiring from whatever we're doing. What do you see yourself in spoken word or poetry?
Um, I've probably written several books. The Treat Me Like a Queen curriculum is probably in a book form by now, being taught at a number of different high schools and colleges all around the country. I'm probably still doing some speaking engagements like a Maya Angelou would. I'm probably more reserved with it by then, but definitely always reaching out to the youth. That's my passion. I'll be doing that until I'm in the grave.
In the grave. I don't know, man. I love to read. I'm a bibliomaniac, they say. I love words. I love to speak. I love to hear people speak. I love beautiful women who have like a well-rounded understanding of just that connection the individual have to like the totality, the holistic view of life. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just had a moment real quick.
You had a moment.
But where's Chicago going? I don't know. Is this a political cesspool? Is this the city of corrupt cops and politicians? Do we need more sunlight? Are we living in a concrete cave? I don't know.
In some dimensions, I feel like we are. I do a lot of work with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr.
Oh man.
And so that definitely shapes some views I have on the Chicago Police Department. What they did to Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. I do think that it's corrupt, but I feel like, and I think politics are corrupt. I feel like it's not the people, it's the system. So, we can put a different person in office, but if we don't change the policies in which the world is ran by, I feel like we're going to keep running into the same thing. But for that reason, because I know that needs to change, and until that changes, I'm not really a political person. I will vote, but I don't allow myself to feel like my future or my life depends on whoever is coming into office. I live by it, something higher than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's like, even when they were like, vote or die, I'm thinking like, no, I'm not gonna die if I don't vote. I just guide myself by a higher principle. At the end of the day, I feel like the creator is in ultimate control. So
let me ask you this. I don't know. I'm in like this place where I'm trying to like figure out what I want to do in my life. I know that America is America, but the world exists far beyond just America. Internationally, what unions or how should the African American community approach the African diaspora and really create those bonds and unions that we've lost virtually as a product of the Western slave trade? Although, me personally, I'm going to live in Barbados where the Atlantic meets the Caribbean someday and build me a villa, and if you want to come visit, you can. But I want to create, I'm not saying let's go back to Africa yet, perhaps, but I think we need to create relationships with other Africans who exist within the Western Hemisphere, such as those in the Caribbean. How can we begin to live beyond just the confinements of America and exist as an international people on a global scale and understand the ramifications of globalism, for better or worse?
I think everything that happens has small beginnings, and small beginnings are cool and they're organic. I think that, before we can begin to work on that level, we have to start here, and we have to start further. Before we even reach outside into the community, it's like self, then it's like family, and then it's the community,
right.
And then it's the world, and then, then we can go outside. So I think that if we start being better, if we start to govern ourselves better, we can then reach out like that. So, even if it's on a small level, even if it's one family here reaching out to another family that's further away, that is the beginning of that overall change. You know
So
what I mean?
what's the state of the family? You know, we spoke about the youth, we spoke about the elderly, we spoke about our young women, we spoke about our young men. But what is the state of the family? Like, I think that's, oh man, it's like we're hurting in a lot of places. But then again, there's like, you're here, you've accomplished a lot, and I'm sure it's a product of your family situation. So it's not all bad.
So family. For me, I grew up seeing marriage. That's all I saw. I don't even know one person in my family that's a single mother. My parents were married for 32 years. Just recently they separated last year. Because I'm 30, that was one of the hardest things I had to deal with. That definitely set a foundation for myself as a woman. What I imagine family is supposed to be like. My grandparents were married 30-something years. My brother was married. So I always grew up seeing marriage. I noticed that just last year, I've seen some of the most powerful unions between man and woman be broken. You know, and we could blame it on a lot of different things. They say the world is coming to an end. I think that just morals, our morals are conflicted. You know, marriage doesn't mean what it used to mean because we've started to accept everything. You know, I feel like the world that we're living in has no boundaries, you know, anymore. You know, and I think that one of the attributes I teach what treat me like a queen is a queen has boundaries but no limitations. The world is lacking boundaries. You know, nobody really has a clear ideal of what they will or won't do. You know, people is doing anything when the situation presents itself. Like, oh, I'll do that. You know, and it's like there's no structure with that. And so when we think of marriage, you know, people don't know what to do with it. And now since our people are like in a spiritual, religious purgatory, it's like you know, okay, if you're in between and you feel how you feel about Christianity or religion and the Bible, so on and so forth. Well, marriage is the biblical kind of thing, you know, according to that. It's like, okay, man and woman gets married, so on and so forth, and then there's these rules that they can't break. I think that because we're trying to pull it away from that, it's not clear on what's acceptable or not acceptable as it pertains to marriage. And I think that men and women have to come together and get on a page, you know, even outside of the Bible or anything like that. Just a covenant between you and that person is something bigger than paper that you sign.
Yeah, the legal ramifications.
Right,
yeah.
like, you know, don't put a ring on my finger, put a ring around my life. Like, what do we have? What is the standard that we set?
Yeah.
I don't think that people are setting those type of standards. I think they're doing it because it's traditional to do it, and you know, hence our children are a reflection of that. And then a lot of people, they've lost faith in it because so many marriages have crashed that people aren't even thinking about it. When people think about having a baby, they just like, I'm gonna have a baby. You know, people come to me all the time like, oh, why haven't you had a baby yet? I'm like, I'm not married. I don't even have a relationship at this point. How am I gonna have a baby? But you know, it's starting to not be a requirement. It's like let's do whatever. Let's just go. So people are making moves without thinking, and then like even to get to that point, dating. Oh my God.
Explain that. Don't just say, "Oh my God." Explain what that is about. Like, she put her head down. If you can't see her right now, she put her head down. Hand is on top of the head. She's shaking her head. Explain that to me.
Woo. Dating is discouraging.
Wow. Explanation.
Dating is discouraging. I think it's that lack of boundaries. You know, people don't have boundaries, so anything is happening. You know, people are expecting the wrong things, accepting the wrong things. They haven't set any standards on what they want or don't want. So you're getting or giving anything. And so, you know, going out on a date is a reflection of that, you know. People are just like playing around to see what you like. It's frustrating.
Frustrating, man.
It's frustrating.
I'm discouraged. Man. That's what's up, man. I think we're pretty good. I think that's good. But I thank you for sitting down with me. and I will get you a copy of this as soon as possible. And it was cool. You're a good person, man. I like you.
Thank you, likewise.
And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Miss K Love.
Thank you.
She was so gracious to sit down with us and let us pick her brain a little bit. And who knows? Thank you. Boom.
Ooh.